Hi, pre-calcers. We are on day 5 now, still section 7.2. We're going to talk more about radians and your unit circle. So here we go. Example 1, in the figure below, the x-coordinate of point P. So this point right here on the unit circle. X is 2/5. Evaluate the trigonomic functions of theta. So of this angle that starts at the x-axis, goes around town, and ends here with the terminal side at point P. Okay, so think about what we need. We need the sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Fun, right? Well, because we already know the x value, we already know that this can mean like a little triangle if we want to look at. That might be helpful to see. We know that the x value, that 2/5, is really the cosine, right? The adjacent over hypotenuse. So this value is my cosine. Look at that, you already found one. Thinking back to unit 6, sometimes we're given one value and we need to find the sine and the tangent, and then the rest are the reciprocals. We used our identities. The best word ever in pre-calc, right? Some of us might have just cringed, but that's okay. Okay, we could use identities. In this chapter, though, I'm going to look at it a little bit different and kind of use the formula of the unit circle. Maybe this will click more with you. I'm going to use this idea because I know the x value. It is the same thing as the identity, my dears, right? Sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. But here I'm just using in terms of x, y. They are the same, though. So a little bit of math needs to be done. I'm going to use my x squared plus y squared equals 1, kind of verifying that it's on the unit circle. I know my x is 2/5, and I'm going to solve for my y. That means I'm going to subtract that over and square at the same time if you don't mind. 2 squared is 4, 5 squared is 25. You do need to get a common denominator, all coming back from identities. So 1 can really be written as 25 over 25. So 25 minus 1 would be 21 over 25. You don't want y squared, you want y, so take the square root. You will have to put that plus minus in. You put the square root, you put the plus minus. But realize, look at where you're at. This y value is negative. It's going down. You also could think in the mindset that sine, all students take calc, right? All positive, sine positive, tangent positive, cosine positive, right? It all moves. Either way, you notice it is going to be negative. And when you simplify, you can take the square root of both. 21 you can't simplify, but the square root of 25 is 5. So this is your y value. Oops, hello. So I'm going to put that in here. Negative root 21 over 5. And it does make sense because it's negative and I'm going down. So that's your sign. Negative root 21 over 5. Once you find tangent, the rest are just reciprocals. So the tangent, keep in mind tangent is sine over cosine. Thinking about it in terms of x and y though, it's just y divided by x. So the y value is negative root 21 over 5. The x value is 2 over 5. Instead of dividing by that fraction, just multiply by the reciprocal. All of it's coming back to life, everything that we've done. Cancel, cancel. Equals negative root 21 over 2. That is your tangent. Once you have the first three, the next three are the reciprocals. So the cosecant is 1 over sine. I'll write this one out, and then the rest we can kind of just jump through. So the cosecant is 1 over sine, which means it's 1 over y. Our y value is negative root 21 over 5. Well, you don't divide by a fraction. So we're going to multiply by that reciprocal. Oh no, we're left with a square root in the bottom. But that's okay. We've done this like it's our day job. Multiply by, you can do negative root 21 if you want, or positive root 21. It won't matter. It's going to cancel out. But you need to rationalize. And you'll now get negative 5 root 21 over 21. And it's a little crash course in rationalizing denominators, so if you need to take a step back, don't worry. Secant is 1 over cosine, so just reciprocal there. Cotangent, you have to flip. It has to now be x over y. When you do that math, you should get that as your cotangent, the reciprocal of tangent with a nice rationalizing of the denominator. Okay. Same as chapter 6, but looking at it a little bit different now, using our unit circle. We also are going to look at our calculator this time. We're going to use our calculator to evaluate these functions that we don't know. Okay, we might not know these. They're actually going to be really weird answers that come out, and we don't expect you to do this by hand. Here's how you use your calculator. First thing, I'm going to put like a trillion stars. Check that you are in degree mode. If you are typing in a degree, you have to be in degree mode. To check that, you're going to press mode on your calculator right next to the second key, and you'll go down 3 rows. So the third row has radian and degree. Make sure it is black or bold over degree, so just arrow over and press enter. And then these calculator buttons will work perfectly. Let me show you what I mean. So if here's your calculator, for secant of 10, you press the parenthesis, cosine 10, close the parenthesis, and then it wants you to use the inverse button, which is right here. Press enter. There is the secant of 10 degrees. The inverse button, that -1 in the exponent, is saying the inverse. So it's giving you inverse of cosine, which is secant. How cool. What about if we want to do cosecant? Well, that's the next line in our code. It says parentheses, sine, still of 10 degrees, close parenthesis, put the inverse, enter, 5.758. Just like it has in the chart. If you are not getting this, that means you're in the wrong mode. Make sure you check your mode. But that's kind of what you can do here. Use your calculator for any values that are just too hard. We will be very clear when you can and cannot use the calculator, so don't think it's the end-all catch-all, but we will use it for values that are just kind of nuts, okay? Let's just do 2 more, and I'll send you free. So, let point P, which is xy, denote the point where the terminal side of the angle in standard position meets the unit circle. Use the given information to evaluate the 6 trig functions. Okay, part A. P is in quadrant 3. So we're here, somewhere here, no idea where. X is negative 3/5. Okay, so I think when I draw this actually, I'm like, I don't really need that. All I need is that it's in the third quadrant. X is negative 3/5. Here's my angle, and it's because it's on the unit circle, that hypotenuse is 1. That might be easier to look at. Not saying it's wrong to draw the angle, but this is kind of streamlining the process. We need to find sine, cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, cotangent. Let's go. This point has an x value of negative 3/5. So I already know the cosine. So cosine, we know because it's the x value. To find the sine, all we need to do is find the y value. We're going to search for this y value. Notice it will be negative because it's going down. Already using my noggin. To find it, I'm going to use my unit circle again. X squared plus y squared equals 1. The x squared I know. Searching for the y squared. Subtract it over and square at the same time. So negative 3 squared is positive 9. 5 squared is 25. Getting your common denominator, 25 over 25, will leave you with 16 over 25. Square root, so you put in the plus minus, but we already know it's going to be negative. These simplify very nice to just 4/5. So that is your y value and your sine. They're the same thing. That makes the other ones pretty nice to find. Tangent is just sine over cosine. So that one I can draw out. Sine over cosine. Don't divide by a fraction. Multiply by that reciprocal. Cancel, cancel. Negatives will cancel. Everything cancels. And you're left with 4/3. Something cool to notice. Negative, negative, positive. Well, yeah, because it's in the third quadrant, all students take tangent should be the only thing positive. Keep noticing this stuff. All the others are the reciprocal. So secant is just the reciprocal, negative 5/3. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, negative 5/4. Cotangent, reciprocal of tangent. And notice that one as well is positive. Oh, I wanted a nice box. That's part A. Part B is looking at a different angle. Part B says we're between pi halves and pi. Well, pi halves and pi is the second quadrant. So let me draw my picture. I'm here. And I know x is negative 8 over 15. So here's my point. My x is negative 8 over 15, which makes sense because it's going to the left. And now I'm going to do everything again. Because I know the x, I already know my cosine. And now let's solve. We'll use our unit circle. I know the x. We're going to solve for y. So when we subtract, we're going to also square at the same time. We'll get our common denominators. So you'll get 161 over 225 now. Square root, you put in the plus minus, and you need to determine, is this y supposed to be positive or negative? Well, it's going up, So it's definitely going to be positive. You can't simplify the numerator at all. That's still going to be 161 under the square root. But the square root of 225 is 15. So hey, that's not horrible. Not great, but not horrible. That right there is going to be your sign. Root 161 over 15. That's your y value. Since it's your y value, it's also your sign value. That's a 6e. There we go. Hopefully we're getting this pattern. Let's find the tangent, and the rest are the reciprocals. So tangent is my sine over cosine, my y over my x. So sine is square root of 161 over 5, 15, hello. Divided by my cosine is negative 8 over 15. Don't divide by a fraction. Instead, multiply by that reciprocal. My 15s will cancel. Boop, boop. You're left with negative square root of 161 over 8. That is your tangent. The next three are the reciprocals. So secant, just flip the numerator and denominator. For cosecant, you flip numerator and denominator of sine, but you need to rationalize. So for cosecant, if you rationalize properly, this is what you should get. Please make sure you can get that with your rationalize. Same thing with cotangent. You have to also rationalize. And hopefully you get negative 8 root 161 over 161. If you cannot get those last two, please talk to me in class. I'll help you review rationalizing denominators. But this is what we have for day 5. If you have any questions, I will talk to you in class. Good luck and have a great day.